Okay, welcome to What Series 3. We hope that you've enjoyed the first two series. This series is a little bit longer, and we're going to be talking about Jesus. It's entitled Gentle Jesus, Wild and Radical. We hope you like the series. So what do you think Jesus is like? I get the feeling that Jesus was and is completely different from our mental picture of him. Just think about it for a second. Just look at the practicalities of his life. He was Jewish. He would have looked like a Jew, dark hair, olive skin, probably had the distinctive nose as well. Now, most of the artworks I've seen of Jesus seem to depict him as an Anglo-Saxon. Or we kind of make Jesus fit our culture, don't we? I remember back years ago there was a TV show called The Good Times, and the guy in it was an artist, and he decided to paint a black Jesus. And he painted the only guy that would stay still for him, and that was the wino in the alley. The other thing is Jesus would have been physically very strong. He was a carpenter by trade, and he made stuff, and he not only made stuff out of wood, but he had to cut and trim and transport the timber as well. It was hard work for anyone. And he was fit because he would have walked a lot, ate a lot of fresh produce, didn't smoke and drink alcohol. Oh, he did in moderation. He even produced it himself at times. You see, Jesus is certainly different, not just from who we are, but from the mainstream thought processes of our own culture. We see this in his reversal of the idiom, love your neighbour and hate your enemy, which he turned into the concept of loving your neighbour and loving your enemies at the same time. He was eccentric. He focused on something else, and his focus was a God focus, and still is. Even as a child, if we look at Luke chapter 2, they were looking for him. Why are you searching for me? He asked. Didn't you know that I had to be in my Father's house? But they did not understand what he was saying to them. You know the story. You know what was going on. He was lost and they went looking for him. They found him in the temple. And more than anything else, Jesus was radical because he did things differently. And he talked about stuff differently from the religious bigwigs, and he hung around with all sorts of people. We'll take a look at some of that different stuff over the next few weeks. But here's a couple of questions for you. What do you imagine that Jesus looked like? Would you know Jesus if he walked into the room today? Bless you.